Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Woo! So ready. Honestly, if I get one more person ask me what product do I use to grow my hair, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. I think I am going to self-combust because there is no product out there outside of water that is going to give you hair growth in isolation. Like, stop stressing yourself out. Whew, let me just get that off my chest because welcome back to my channel. This is Life, Locs and Lessons with Liv, and in this video I'm talking about all things hair growth because this has to be a very frequently asked question, but also a frequent search that people are on to find a product that is going to grow their hair rapidly. And I feel like it's something that needs to be heavily addressed in just a general context in terms of natural hair, whether your hair is loose natural or your hair is locked natural. There is just this obsession with trying to find a product that is going to grow your hair in either a short amount of time or in just like unrealistic time frames. You need to understand your context in order to know what's right for you, because one product used by 100 people is going to give potentially 100 different results. And so I just hope that this video is going to provide a bit more understanding and information for people to kind of digest and take in order to know how to proceed forward and just kind of get yourself out of that chokehold of trying to find the product, the one product that is going to grow your hair, because it doesn't exist. It's actually not that deep. When I have people ask me, what do I use to grow my hair? I am very honest. I say I do not rely on a single product to fast track or to grow my hair in general, whether it's quickly or gradually. There is no product that I am relying on in isolation to grow my hair. I feel like hair growth falls under three key things. There's three key elements to understanding your own hair growth. The first thing is genetics, DNA, your cellular makeup, like looking at the people who brought you into this world and your family history, your ethnicity, your cultural breakdown, every aspect of what makes you you. So that is a huge part, especially when you think of in terms of men. You hear about men talk about hair loss, and therefore in terms of hair growth, you've got to think about it in the same way. Like, if you look at your family when you're thinking of how you lose hair over time, how quickly you do, what part of your head do you lose hair, like receding hairlines, or if you have hair that thins out at the back more or in the crown, like you tend to go to your family members and make those linkages with, I don't know, an uncle or a grandmother or something in order to understand hair loss. You need to do the same for hair growth. You need to understand how hair grows in other members of your family so that you can contextualize what hair growth looks like for you. And I think a lot of people don't like honesty. They run from it. And I'm someone who's a very honest person because I want you to have realistic expectations for yourself. I am a huge advocate. I've said this in so many other video pieces, and anyone who's a part of my online community knows this about me. I am a big advocate for people doing what's right for them. And second to that, understanding your individual context so that one, you stop comparing yourself to other people and expecting the same outcomes that they have. And two, you enjoy the experiences that you have, or you embrace the experiences that you have, so that you're thinking less about the destination and spending more time on the journey. So a big thing that a lot of people need to get their head around, and it's probably the hardest thing for people to get their head around, because it's almost like it really makes you challenge why you're looking for growth in a product when you actually need to start with yourself. So know yourself on a cellular level in terms of your hair growth rate, the quality of your hair as it grows, thinking of the density and the thickness of the strands. Those are two different things. Density is about how many strands you have in every square centimeter, square inch of your head. And thickness is about the actual hair strand. Is it fine or is it thick? Whereas density is more a case of like, do you have a lot of hair? So it seems dense, it seems thicker, or has a lot of volume, or is it a case of it's more thinner, meaning you don't have as many hair strands on your head. So there's that. Your cellular breakdown, your genetic makeup, your DNA, what makes you you. The second thing is diet. Now, another thing that a lot of people like to run from or ignore or feel like they can bypass by trying to find a product that grows hair or supports or stimulates hair growth, but not realizing that your diet also heavily contributes to the production of hair. And so it's very important to know what you're consuming internally. I would say trying to solve anything or achieve anything by only doing things externally is not going to be sustainable and is not going to be is not going to give you a true experience of self-development. I would say the most sustainable change is internal, and the most rewarding change is internal. So whilst you could spritz your hair as many times as you want, if you're not drinking enough water, then it doesn't matter how much you spritz your hair. You are not giving yourself the optimal potential that your hair growth could have by not giving yourself enough water internally. The reason why I talk about this is because a lot of people like to ask either myself or other people in the lock community in particular, how often do you spritz your locks? Do you spritz your locks daily? My answer is no. I do not daily spritz my locks. And some people will feel like, oh, you don't daily spritz? I thought you're supposed to. Who wrote the rules? Like, as far as I'm concerned, I do what's right for me. But also take the time to go a bit deeper or be a bit more curious or read a bit more. It's like people who react to the first 2 seconds of a video but don't watch the full minute. So then you make a judgment on the 2 seconds that you watch rather than taking in the wider context or the wider conversation or the wider dialogue or the wider information. And so for me, whilst I do not spritz my hair, so I do not add water to my hair, mist my hair, whatever you want to call it, daily, sometimes even maybe weekly, I may do it, maybe once a week. I know after a fresh retwist, I don't intentionally want water to get onto my hair for at least 7 to 10 days after I retwist, but I drink water every day. I drink approximately 2 to 3 liters a day. That is just autopilot. That is subconscious. It just happens. I can feel when my body hasn't had its regular amount of water. It's a habit. It's a habit that I've built for years. And so when people make a judgment on me for not spritzing my hair daily, what they do not know is that I internally take in water every single day. And so that supports with my hair production, because if you really look at your scalp is where the hair comes from. I know it sounds so basic, but that's how I feel every time I get a question about daily spritzing or even about hair growth. I just think some of these concepts just seem so simple to me. And yet people are stressing themselves out over the most complex decisions, like trying to find the product that is going to give them the hair growth that they want, when a lot of people have the one product that your hair production needs, which is water. And so I say all of that to say, when you are looking at your context and you're looking at your DNA, which was point 1, also look at your daily intake, your weekly intake, your monthly intake, your annual intake. What are you consuming? This is through food and through liquids, solids and liquids. What are you consuming? How are you nourishing yourself from the inside? Several years ago, I learned that our hair and our nails are the last things to get any moisture from the body. So if water automatically goes to crucial organs first, then everything else, then nails and hair. Imagine the difference it would make if you actually gave yourself even more water. So you fed yourself with water. And so rather than rely on the body, given the little remnants that you have left after everything else gets what it needs, and then it goes to the hair and nails. Imagine if you gave yourself more water so that there was enough left for your hair and nails after all your crucial organs and your skin and everything has got what it needs. Another thing around diet, and the reason why it's important to give yourself the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals that you need through daily consumption, is because your skin is the largest organ in the body. Your skin is the largest organ in the body. And so that is part of a crucial organ in terms of your skin. It protects you from a lot. And dare I say it, your skin is on your scalp. Your scalp is your skin. It's just heavily covered by hair for most people, so you don't see it, but there's skin there. And so if you see the surface, like I think in a previous video, I compared myself to a plant. I say I see myself as a plant. And so if you look at a plant, let's go for either a plant outdoors or a plant indoors. Either you've got the bit that you see. So in terms of like the plants I've got here. So you've got the leaves and you've got any flowers or whatever above the soil. And then you've got all the roots below the soil or the potting mix. And you water that plant so that the water gets to the roots in order to feed the plant. And then you see the beautiful green leaves or the colors in the flowers if your plants have flowers, etc., etc. Just go outside and you'll see this. So imagine your scalp is like the surface, the top part of the earth. So above it is the hair. So this is your plant. This is the flowers, the leaves that you see above the surface. And below is the roots. So imagine all of the roots need to develop in order to push what is needed, push life into the stuff that you then see and admire. And the thing is, above the surface, that's where you look at the leaves and you can see if they're wilting or if flowers are not as bright and as vibrant as they need to be, or if there looks like there's something that needs attention. You have to address it at a root level in order to see change above. Yes, you can snip away leaves, like I prune my leaves on my plants, and so you could trim locks or you can trim your hair or whatever. But in terms of the production of new life, new leaves, new flowers, in order to go through those seasonal changes and be sustainable and live a longer life, you need to ensure that the roots are well cared for. So imagine if you water yourself from the inside, that means not only are you growing hair, the hair that you are growing is healthier because you are giving the body what it needs in order to produce a healthy hair strand. And so for me, whilst I do care about my ends and I care about the hair that's already visible, I've always said to myself, as long as I'm producing healthy hair at the top, then I'm less concerned about snipping or needing to snip or tidy up the ends of the bottom, because I'm constantly producing healthy hair at the top, and therefore my hair is then fuller and my hair looks healthy and it is growing. Now, yes, you need to factor in that different people have different growth rates naturally. That's why I started with DNA. I started with your cellular level. I started with your genetics, but it's also your diet and your consumption. And the third one is kind of leading on from the second point I made, is around just lifestyle practices, lifestyle choices, how you care for yourself. That's where I would say products probably come in. So in terms of what you're using externally, what you're doing externally, what environment you're in. Obviously, people who have access to more sunlight, then naturally, if you've got more vitamin D, then there's a production of hair that can happen in those environments that might not happen in the same way in other environments. So it's factoring in the wider context of self, which is still also something that has an internal element, because I say lifestyle habits also includes what you think of yourself, how you feel about yourself, what your daily, weekly, monthly, annual, yearly habits are, and how you care for you, how you take care of yourself and what you're doing. But it's recognizing that the other two things are just as important. And so a product that works for one person may not work for you. So this is where oils come in. I know there are oils that I use that other people have intolerances to. So when people ask me what oil should I use, I'm always like, this is what I use, but it would be good for you to find out what's right for you. So I would just say anyone who's thinking about asking another person, what products do you use to grow your hair, or how do you grow your hair so fast? Just ensure that you've contextualized your own situation, your own status first, because then that will either change the question that you ask so that it actually is taking into consideration the differences that you could have with someone else, especially someone else that you don't know, a complete stranger, online especially. But also it helps you to be realistic about any response that you get, so that you're managing your expectations as well as you can. Because while someone may say, use this or do that, it's just ensuring that if you use this or do that, you don't think that doing it for 2 weeks or for a month or for a year and then stopping means that you're going to have sustainable, long-lasting change. Because I would say a lot of it is a lifestyle shift. So if you are someone who's spritzing your hair daily, but also drinking fizzy drinks daily and not taking in just pure water, or you're not consuming your water through foods that have a high water content, then be realistic about the outcome you're going to get. Be realistic about what's going to happen to you. Don't be checking your scalp all the time expecting growth. So those are the three main points I would say about hair growth production, not finding growth in a product in isolation, but knowing that there are several factors to consider. A final point I would make is a bit of an expanded point, so I'll probably do a separate video on it, but understanding the difference between growth and retention. For the most part, unless there is a medical condition, a medical reason why for whatever reason your hair doesn't grow or it isn't growing, separate to those exceptions, hair grows all the time. I'll repeat, hair is growing all the time. The reason why you may not see hair growth is because maybe you're not retaining the length that you're gaining. And I have said this in a previous video on my channel, because when you really think about it, if your hair is growing all the time, whether you're growing half an inch, an inch and a half each month, it varies from one person to the next. If that is happening all the time, that's why if you grow hair in other areas, that's why you shave, because hair is growing all the time. And so, or that's why some people may shave or wax or whatever it is, but you may manicure, you may take care, you know, all of that stuff. But if you are losing hair at the other end at the same rate that you're growing hair, that's why you feel like your hair is not growing, because the length that you have at any one time seems to be the same. It seems to be stagnant. And so in terms of growth, you have to think about retention as well if you actually want to see your growth over time. So that's why I'm able to see growth over time, because I am caring for the hair that I already have. So I'm thinking of retaining my length whilst I gain more. But at the same time, I'm realistic to my context, because I know that I trim my ends sometimes. So if I'm snipping off an inch of hair at the end for a particular lock, because I don't necessarily trim all my locks at the same time, I do it randomly, just spontaneously, whichever lock is talking to me and saying, Olivia, I need a snip. So then I'll do that, but I don't necessarily do an even cut all the time. But if I'm taking inches off at the end, then that means as long as I'm producing healthy hair at the top, then I can understand that it balances out. But if I never cut my hair and I take care of the hair that I have, And my hair consistently grows at the top healthy because of the way that I have evaluated my cellular makeup, my DNA, my genetics, and my diet and my lifestyle habits and everything. Then over time, I will see my hair gradually get longer. So it's important to know that hair growth and length retention are two different things that work together if you actually want to see the length of your hair over time and feel like it's growing, because it is growing. The growth is fact, but the feeling is subjective from one person to the next. It's all relative to the individual, because hair by standard is growing all the time. But if you're not looking after your hair, or this is separate to any medical condition or any exception, but on average, if you're not looking after your hair, and the three things that I talked about in terms of DNA or genetics or cellular, whatever you want to refer to it as, diet, what you're intaking through food, through water, and through other vitamins, nutrients and minerals, and also lifestyle, how you treat yourself, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what environment you're in, all those things, all those practices and principles that you have in your life, what is conscious and subconscious to you and all of that stuff, then it's knowing that you also want to be able to retain all the things that you're growing. So I hope that makes sense. I think I will also say on the back of that point is that part of the hair care practices, and this is something I will definitely do a separate video on, is understanding your hair porosity, knowing whether you have low, medium or high porosity, because then that tells you how your hair engages with water, which I feel is a huge part of, one, your cellular makeup, because obviously how your hair is produced is based on you on a cellular level. So I feel like it's kind of interwoven into all three areas. Your diet, in terms of like how your cells absorb water, and this includes when you mist your scalp or if you wet your scalp when you're washing your hair, how your body absorbs water and moisture in different forms. And then also your lifestyle practices, in terms of, I don't spritz my hair daily because I have low to medium porosity hair. So the water is just going to sit on the hair strand. So it actually doesn't serve my context, my individual context, to spritz my hair daily, because then that means I'll just be walking around with damp hair all the time. So I do not need to do daily misting on my hair. I don't need to. But I definitely need to, want to, like to, love to enjoy drinking water every single day throughout the day, and have done for years. So what you're seeing is years of water consumption, years. So I would say that is important, understanding your hair porosity so that you can see whether you're low, medium and high, and that will tell you how you should wash your hair, how often you should spritz, understanding why you're spritzing your hair, how often you should drink water. Like, because I've got low to medium porosity hair, that's one of the reasons why I drink water more than I add water to my hair externally. So I take in water internally more than I put it on my hair externally, because I have low to medium porosity hair. So if I know water is just going to sit on the hair strand, I think, okay, I still need water to get to my hair. Let me do it internally so that it supports with the production of healthy hair, so that my hair is so hydrated. I don't need to moisturize it as regularly, because when I'm moisturizing it, it's just wetting it because of the porosity of my hair. Does that make sense? Whereas someone who has medium to high or high porosity hair may mist their hair more regularly, because their hair strands will actually take in the moisture. I'm not saying they therefore shouldn't or don't need to drink as much water, because I think it's only beneficial to have a regular intake of water. But it's just knowing your context. It goes back to the first point I made about knowing your context, knowing yourself on a deeper level. And so the final point is time. A lot of people do not want to wait. A lot of people struggle with being patient. A lot of people will compare themselves to someone who is further along on their hair growth journey or lifestyle shift journey and expect the same results that that person has. It has taken me 3+ years to get to this point of my lock length. It's taken me 3+ years to get to this point on my lock length. But there are people who are just starting their journey who are thinking of how they can get to my length now, when they are weeks in, months in to their journey. And it's knowing that this is years, this is time that has been invested. And so you need to give yourself grace and give yourself time to travel the journey, learn and understand yourself more at a deeper level, and then see how that transformation takes place for you. It's not going to happen on day one. It's not going to happen week one, month one, year one. It takes time. And a lot of the things that I've said are lifestyle choices, lifestyle practices, lifestyle principles. And so therefore it will take a lifetime in order to see things in movement, to see the seeds that you planted germinate. A tree doesn't just shoot up, it takes time. And so it's allowing yourself to learn what you can on your journey and not feel bad if you're not where someone else is, because you don't know their context. But the person whose context you can know is your own. So that's it. If you do want more content of me explaining key concepts, and I have loads of ideas based on loads of questions and comments that I receive across my platforms of videos that I can do. But if there's something specific you'd like me to talk about, then please drop a comment below, but also like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you do not miss an upload. And I'll see you in the next video. Hair grows all the time. I'll repeat, hair is growing all the time. The reason why you may not see hair growth is because maybe you're not retaining the length that you're gaining.